Hey guys, Peter here. So I've got 4 Ormonde Jayne fragrances that I'm reviewing for you today in this video altogether. So the reason I'm doing this is 2 of these were recommended to me a while back by one of my viewers. Montabaco is one of them, and then Zizan. And the other 2 that I have here with me are Ambre Royal and Taif. I did try a few others in this boutique store that we have in New York City, Adis Perfumery, and I tried a few others, including Tolu, which seems to be popular, and I landed on these to test further. So if you were looking for a review on Tolu, I'm sorry that I don't have that for you today. It wasn't that it was a bad fragrance. I think these just kind of drew me more initially, so maybe I'll do that later. Yeah, and it's not a first impression that I'm doing. I actually tested these quite a bit to be able to tell you guys about the scent. So, on the house of Ormonde Jayne in general, I have found that this is truly a niche house. And an affordable one too. They're 50 mLs coming in at $150, which is a really good price. And the quality here is, surpasses, I think, a lot of other brands. On their website, they say for pretty much all their fragrances, they have at least a 30% fragrance oil concentration. And a lot of these are labeled, most of them eau de parfum. And, eau de parfum is generally 15 to 20% from my knowledge. And they're saying that they have 30% fragrance oils. And this actually, all these fragrances that I have for you today, and others I've tested as well from the house, they perform kind of like an extrait. They're so rich and full, super, super long lasting, and more than sort of the longevity, they have this kind of intoxicating feel. No matter what kind of scent, it could be floral, it could be woody, but they're so rich that they sort of have an intoxicating quality. So I think if you're looking for value, there's amazing value in this house. And then the compositions themselves are quite interesting and all pretty unique, all the ones that I'm reviewing today. So let's talk about each one. I'm gonna start with Montabaco, because this is actually the one that I liked the most. So I'll read you some notes that I'll be talking about. All right, so Montabaco is part of the the Four Corners collection, I think they call it, where they're inspired by different regions, and this is one that's supposed to be inspired by Latin America. So let me spray this. I'm gonna wear all of them. Yeah, so Montabaco, what you get, it's actually, if you read the notes, what might stand out is the tobacco and the suede leather note. And that's really the basis for this fragrance, but I'll tell you why it's different from, other tobacco scents or leather scents. When you first spray it, you get actually kind of fruity, sweet opening. The notes they have are air note, orange, bergamot, juniper, clary sage. But basically, I get this very juicy opening, but that lasts no more than maybe like 15 seconds. And then, I pick up on a lot of ISOE Super, giving this scent is very, very kind of cozy, dry sort of quality. And overall, it sort of has a strong woody nuance. What is interesting though, is there is sweetness that actually continues throughout the whole life of this fragrance, and it sort of also has a spicy element. So I think a lot of that is coming from the use of cardamom in here. So it has this sort of very dry, kind of airy feel to the fragrance, and it in fact has as a top note an air note, which is very interesting. But you no longer have the fruits in the dry down, and then you get this a lot of the tobacco coming in. And overall, the feel I get from this fragrance, it's definitely not linear, and so I get a different experience each time. And depending on what you focus on, you will pick up on different parts. So there is definitely a kind of cigar-like, ashy, pipe tobacco sort of feel to it if you were to look for it, but it's not dirty in any sort of way. It still, retains this sort of airy quality despite having this dry edge. But it doesn't always stay like that either. Like I said, it will change on you, and sometimes, I think deeper into the dry down, I get more of, the kind of sweet, slight smoky leather, which is sort of encapsulated by this suede note. And you do get that very soft, cozy, woody and leathery feel. But what is so intriguing about this scent is, on the one hand, it reminds me a little bit of like a desert atmosphere. I know, that's not what they were going for necessarily with Latin America, but sort of like, I mentioned this place like Morocco, sort of a spice market in a hot place. It has that kind of feel because of the slight spicy element, and then the cozy leather. There's this earthy feel to it. But like I said, it's an airy fragrance, and it actually has a quite floral heart. It smells perfectly unisex, and it's unlike other tobacco scents because it adds this ashiness, but doesn't kind of go in too much of a smoky, masculine direction. It has, magnolia, rose, violet, various kind of floral notes in the heart that kind of are a big contributor. It's an interesting scent. At first I thought I didn't like it because it's it has a little bit of a bitter smell as well. But in the dry down, the best part is this sort of sweetness coming through the leathery quality about this scent. So it's sort of a very, I think it's a seductive kind of scent, this sweet leather, slight dry smoky edge to it. So this probably is my favorite among the ones I'm telling you about today. So that's Montabaco. Let's talk about Zizan. This one actually caught my eye the most based on the note breakdown. They describe it as, basically a perfume that has everything a man could possibly want. A powerhouse scent, a loud scent. And the notes here are Sicilian lime, lemon bergamot, so some citrus, and pink pepper. And the heart, really interesting. They use bay leaf and violet and jasmine. And then vetiver, cedar, musk in the base, and amber. So what does this smell like? Okay, let's give it a spray. So when I first smelled Zizan, there was something about it that smelled very, very familiar to me, and in a good way. And then I realized that it reminded me of Parfum de Marly Galloway, and I'm not sure if everyone will agree on this, but I was very intrigued by how it reminded me of Galloway. They don't smell exactly alike, but there is a very strong core that's similar. And I realized basically both fragrances have this peppery component, especially in the opening. This pepper mixing with, blast of citrus. And then both fragrances also have an ambery base that contrasts with this fresh citrus, peppered citrus basically. And combine that with musk, and that's basically most of the fragrance. And so that's quite similar between Galloway and this fragrance. And then floral heart. In this case, they use a jasmine that is quite creamy and slightly sweet. And it's very good. Now what makes this fragrance stand out is the use of bay leaf. The addition of bay leaf here separates it from Galloway and any other fragrance. And you either like it or you don't, in my opinion. I think it's a very, very strong dominant note in this fragrance. That's what I get the most of. If you've ever cooked with bay leaf, you know that scent, very recognizable. So basically this scent has that sort of beautiful opening that I described, peppery, fresh, and then goes right into, already, I could smell it, right into this medicinal, herbal sort of bay leaf. That's very dry and almost feels a touch smoky as well. And that might be either very, very alluring for you or kind of off-putting, depending on your taste. So I think it's a kind of an aggressive scent, because of this note that feels medicinal. And in here, also what's different from Galloway is that you also have quite a lot of vetiver coming into play. And it's a kind of dry, grassy type of vetiver that really goes hand in hand with the bay leaf. Again, making this fragrance overall very, very dry and grassy smelling. And if you like those kind of scents, you will definitely enjoy this one. You know, this was not what I was expecting. I thought it would be something brighter, more citrusy, but the citrus fades and it's really all about, you know, the bay leaf. But again, with the Ormonde Jayne fragrances, every note is playing an important role, but I'm just telling you sort of what's the dominant note so that you can have a sense of this fragrance. It's really this kind of medicinal quality, and along with the vetiver and a kind of earthy undertone. Okay, so that's Zizan. Next, let me talk about Ambre Royal. This fragrance, you know, I sort of got on a whim. I barely tested it in the store, and then I was like, oh, you know what, I'll just try it some more. It actually impressed me. So, you know, the name is a little bit misleading for Ambre Royal, and let me spray it as I talk. You know, it's an amber fragrance, technically, right? But that, you know, when you first smell it, you may not associate it with an amber scent. You know, it has actually, it smells very, very floral, almost slightly feminine in the opening, but overall, you know, once it dries down, it's a kind of perfectly unisex scent. Very, very likable, super unique. And so what I get in the opening is primarily a very heady floral, again, intoxicating floral kind of scent. It's just like a cloud that, you know, hits you. It's basically a combination of rose and jasmine, and yeah, there's osmanthus in here, and you get a little bit of a touch of iris as well. There's sort of buttery quality from this scent, slightly waxy and lipsticky, but it will kind of go in and out. It's not the main part of this fragrance. But what is really unique about this is I actually got a kind of a mostly a tea accord. It sort of felt like a tea that's steeped for a long time, a kind of bitter green tea. And there is no tea note listed. I think it's because of the combination of florals, including osmanthus, but they do list green notes in the opening. And so it's one of these scents. The other kind of amber scent that's unique like this I can think of is Nishane's Ambre Calabria, but that goes in a different direction. That has more sweetness, more tartness, and then uses galbanum to create more bitterness. This one is a much more airy and kind of refreshing, watery, floral, you know, heart. And the green notes are sort of, there is no real bitterness about the scent. It's sort of infusing like a tea-like scent along with that, and then of course it's all supported by amber, which it doesn't feel like an amber, like a vanilla type of scent. So think of this more as sort of a very, very posh, elegant floral type of fragrance that is unisex. A lot of, again, rose and jasmine. And the other part that's interesting about this fragrance is one of the florals they use is orchid. And of course, I'm reminded of another fragrance I reviewed recently, Vetiver Sensuel from Mancera, which has an orchid note, because it's one of those notes that you don't see all too often. And I'm quite surprised, similar to that scent, the orchid note here gives this fragrance a very watery feel. It's unlike, you know, any other floral. There's a unique sort of aspect about it. In this case, it mixes with the rose, and so it feels like a very refreshing rose jasmine combination. But I think that in terms of that airiness, it's the orchid really helping that out. And just so you know, there is also ambroxan here, but it's really hard to describe how the ambroxan is kind of playing a role in this scent. Again, this blend is so intriguing, and you really have to try it out for yourself. I'll tell you at the end sort of my overall thoughts. But let's talk about Taif. So Taif is basically a rose-based scent. So notes you have saffron, pink pepper, and then Taif rose. And interestingly, dates in here. But let's see what this smells like. The reason I liked Taif so much. Yeah. Whew. I mean, it is so nice. You have to like, again, rose, you have to like floral scents, but this is one of the best rose fragrances that I've smelled. Portrait of the Lady is nice, and I don't own it, so I can't do a side-by-side, but from what I remember, it was a little more kind of old smelling, more feminine than this one. This one smells more interesting, more balanced, and also more unisex. That's what I like about this, and more youthful as well. It has almost a slightly spicy feel. It's a very sweet, smooth type of rose scent, but there is this kind of kick to it that's coming from saffron and the pepper. And overall, this is a very, very refreshing scent that I guess I like it so much because it is summertime, and this works so well in hot weather. It's so strong that it can really carry you throughout the whole year. This type of scent, if you like rose, you can use as a signature scent. Yeah, it's so interesting. It has this very fluffy quality about it as well. And in the base, you have amber. You have musk that just smells so clean. Yeah, so Taif is an extremely refreshing rose scent. And I gotta say, so Taif and Montabaco for me personally would be kind of full bottle worthy type of scents. I really, really like sort of how rich yet how kind of airy and light Taif wears. It has just the right amount of sweetness, this fluffy texture. It is just, I think it's one of those scents that is really hard to hate. And most people around you are gonna like it as well. So it's a very easy to wear a scent that works all year long. And then Montabaco I really like because of how unique it is. I mean, oh my God. I mean, there's nothing like this scent. And I have to tell you, this scent improves as it dries down. Not only does it seem to sort of some notes become amplified, but the scent just improves. It's better than the opening. So I get, oh my goodness. So yeah, this so very, very sensual, soft, sweet leather. All right. It's so good. It's so good. And it's like sort of being hit with the desert air too. I mean, that's sort of wow. Yeah, and Ambre Royal. Ambre Royal is a really good one too, really unique. To me, it's a little too strong actually, that it gives me a little bit of a headache sometimes, and you have to go easy on the trigger. And it's just a scent that really exhausts your nose. If you, I think in the air it's fine, but if you smell it up close, it's a really strong kind of potent floral scent. And then you add in the amber and green notes, and overall it can be a headache-inducing type of scent for some people, I think. Yeah, and then Zizan surprisingly was the disappointment for me. Yeah, just the it really is just the bay leaf and the medicinal bitter quality that I really don't like about it. I would much rather go with Parfum de Marly Galloway, which is such a pleasant scent that still has that unique kind of pepper citrus with the musk and amber, and a more interesting heart as well with iris. So that's my take on these 4 fragrances. Let me know if you've tried them and what others you recommend, and I'll see you in the next review. Bye.